Predators are often seen as cold, swift, and ruthless killers. A wolf or a wildcat has a variety of tactics that they can utilize to seal the deal. Those tactics apply two basic fundamental methods: hot and swift, and cold and cruel. And ultimately, there's one main question I have about these skillful hunters. If scary, why cute? The answer doesn't really matter, but our boy Luxray EX can do both slow and swift with flying colors. Using his keen eyes to be the best apex predator, and a hunt for treats for their trader, Luxray could potentially be a good contender for a Rouge Dps. And I'll gladly show you guys just how I can make that work. Stick around and I'll show you just how mildly infuriating he can be. It has eyes that can see through anything. It spots and captures prey hiding behind objects. Because of this ability, Arvin is forever on Packwatch. Luxray is an electric type discard DPS, and both its energy and your opponent's rare candies. Both of these can be done for only 2 energy, allowing you to seemingly switch between debuffing the player and breaking their kneecaps. While it has no abilities, it sports 2 attacks. Its first attack is Piercing Gaze, does 120 damage, requires 2 colorless, and forces your opponent to discard a card from their hand, which is normally kind of whatever, the kind of abilities that it doesn't. The difference with this one is that it lets you choose the cards you discard. It's basically Airy, but can do damage, and you're not restricted to just items. Though let's be real, Airy outside the TCG can absolutely do damage. She practically breaks any door frame she walks into. But I digress. Piercing Gaze can be pretty good if you can set it up fast enough, because then you can keep your opponent from setting up. Unless they top deck an Arvin. Spoilers, they always do, but you can sadly annoy your opponent, and in the end, that's all that really matters. The second attack, Volt Strike, does a whopping 250 damage at the cost of he has to discard all the energy from the Pokemon that used it. There are ways to get around this, but ultimately it can be cumbersome. Especially when there are more consistent damage dealing Pokemon one could choose from. But if you like Luxray, I'm going to show you just how you can make this mon playable. Upon encountering an opponent, this Pokemon prepares for battle by extending its claws, which can put out 1,000,000 volts of electricity. Too bad he loses all of it, making him mad vulnerable. Maybe instead of volts, he stop being so creepy and generate some friends instead. And one such friend is the old reliable Riverroo, who makes another cameo. Spoilers, is going to be featured in a lot of decks I introduced. As a draw engine that can put energy in the discard, it's a pretty decent card to have in everything, especially when Power Glass is a thing. Wink wink. Personally, I don't use Miraidon, but by virtue of being an electric type, Miraidon EX is basically a given option. Shocking, I know. That's right folks, the bicycle stays winning. For those that don't know why, Miraidon has an ability called Tandem Unit that lets you summon basic electric Pokemon to the bench, basically eliminating the need for a buddy poppin'. Top of that, it can serve as a backup attacker that can just casually do 220 damage, the cost of not being able to use that attack the next turn. And you only really need 2 R2 in the deck to get started. One could say he's the cycle of life. At the time of recording, the Journey Together set just came out, and here's some Pokemon from that set and prior that can help this Pokemon do what he needs to do. Jolting can be really good as a way to set up energy on your Luxray, and only as much help as it can get. Zubstrika requires a bit of setup, but Burst of Brain can be a fairly good attack to use because it can potentially move a lot of energy around. But as much as I like the Pokemon, I don't see it doing too well since it requires you to be behind. BLITZ EX can be really good for helping with energy transferring. After using Volt Strike, you can use Happy Switch to snag another energy from another Pokemon. It can be pretty situational, especially with energy being such a limited resource in the deck, but it would be one less energy for another Luxray to do its thing, so if you run BLITZ, consider your options. Speaking of moving energy, the boy Blaziken can absolutely help with moving energy from the discard, so if you get one out early, Luxray won't have to worry about having a spare energy in hand before he can attack again. He's not in this deck, but don't worry, we'll have plenty of time to talk about him in the future. There's a couple EVs that can either search for or attach from hand, but like Zubstrika and Joltik, it requires an attack. Iono's Kilowattra could be good for an alternate draw engine if you pair it with Electric Generator, or pair it with another energy mover like BLITZ or just an energy switch item. If you're geared towards disruption or control, Iron Thorns is a pretty decent rule box wall, and Volt Cyclone isn't the worst second attack in the world. Swagnemite and Morpeko are other attack-based accelerators that can move energy from the discard, which might have more synergy than the other ones that just pull from the deck. Swagneton's Overvolt Discharge could be really helpful too, but the prize card risk is a bit of an ass for a mid-range attacker like Luxray. He's gonna have a hard time coming back from that hurdle. Delcatty's Energy Blender attack is surprisingly good at on-field manipulation, though it does take a bit to set up and it's also an attack, so you have to do a lot of commitment before it can actually do any good. Squawkabilly is universally loved as a turn 1 refresher, and its motivation can help attaching from discard. A regular Kilowattrel Stormbolt can also help with on-field energy manipulation by dispersing them from her onto your bench Pokemon. Bolton's Electrifying Dash can allow for more energy searching for a single energy. It can have a decent amount of synergy. Overall, I think I'm going to stick with the unreliable Rougher Room and Luxray, but there truly are a myriad of options to help with energy problems if you run into them, and there's plenty of items that can help enable Luxray to be the best he can be. Luxray's ability to see through objects comes in handy for when it's scouting for danger. It's the danger you're searching for, totally not looking for that power glass of yours. Luxray as a whole is pretty simple to build, and because of its variety of tactics you can build it in a multitude of ways. This build will not only be somewhat budget friendly, but it's pretty well rounded and can take advantage of both of Luxray's talents. The card that I personally use instead of earthen vessels is the electric generator. This item allows the user to look at the top 5 cards of your deck, and attach up to 2 energies you find there to your bench electric Pokemon. So if it's in the cards, you could already have a fully kitted or kittened out Luxray. Comfortable with the RNG, trust me, I understand. You could just use other vessels instead, plus having the spare energy can help Rougher Room as well. They both have their pros and cons. If you're using Miraidon, Nestball can help you quickly get your Miraidon and create the world's most confusing Tandem bike. Additional basic searches don't hurt either way, honestly. Switch for both that same bicycle or just to get your head away from the cactus fields. In general, it's just a solid card that any deck should have. Other options from the GH set if you want to focus on hand-field disruption include Meddling Memo. It's basically a single target Iona for your opponent, so if your rival has a fat hand, or pulls some crazy good cards out of their prizes, you can stop that item and force him to redraw cards equal to his hand size. Crushing Hammer can be pretty good too. It has the coin flip drawback, but if you succeed, you can remove an energy from your opponent's Pokemon. It could potentially be a really good slowdown tool. Enhanced Hammer is only good if your opponent is Luigi or Double Turbo Terrapagos. There's no RNG debuff though, so it's not bad to have in case there's also Legacy Energy / Neo Upper Enjoyers, as well as a ton of useful special energies coming up. Hand Trimmer, as the name suggests, is a pretty good anti-big hand card that forces your opponent and you to discard their hand until they have only 5 cards in their hand. Not a bad option, but there's another card I'll mention in a bit that does this better. Pokemon / Counter Catchers are very good bosses orders like item cards, but with a few caveats. Pokemon Catcher is a coin flip base, whereas Counter Catcher you have to be behind on prize cards. Counter Catcher is typically the better of the two, but if you're willing to gamble, Pokemon Catcher is petty on its own. The main card I heavily recommend that caters towards Volt Strike is the Pokemon tool Power Glass. Power Glass is a tool that can grant the user 1 energy from the discard at the end of the turn, meaning on your next turn, if the Pokemon survives, it will start the turn with 1 energy already on its person, meaning you only need to reattach 1 more energy to get the job done. This, along with other staple items like Ultra Balls, Rare Candies, Earthen Vessels, and Energy Retrieval, can help smooth the ride and help in forging Luxray as quickly as possible. Only drawback is that this deck's biggest obstacle is cell phone power. The tool I use in a lot of Stage 2 decks, and honestly just a lot of Evolution decks in general, is called Technical Machine Evolution. Once equipped, it can grant the user the attack Evolution. Prestigious, I know, but this lets you search your deck for a card that evolves from 2 of your bench Pokemon, which is just another way to speed up evos if your rare candy is nowhere to be seen. You can also use it to evolve a Rougher Room so that you can start drawing faster. Other options can include Handheld Fan is crazy good for disruption if you're behind and don't want to use Power Glass. It moves an energy from one of your opponent's Pokemon to another if you hit with a direct attack. Technical Machine De-Evolution is a really good vibe check against other Stage 2 Pokemon, and it hurts a lot more because most people use rare candies to speed up evolving into their stronger Pokemon instead of Tiered Evolution or Grand Tree. For this, with both Xerosis Machinations and finish it off with a Freezing Gaze, and they might just be forced to discard one of their Evos or something that can help get them back. There's not many supporters that really cater to either of Luxray's skills, but there are some that do a bit of disruption to help make his life a little bit easier. Take Aries for example. Aries can force your opponent to discard 2 items from their hand, thus disabling their use of potential rare candies or nest balls or buddy buddies or any sort of like search related item. But the main card I use for disruption in this deck is Xerosis Machination. It forces your opponent to discard their hand until they're down to 3 cards. It's the card I mentioned that was better than Hand Trimmer. Pairing this with Piercing Gaze means they would only have 2 cards at the start of their turn. Then there's the tried and true staples like Arvin and Boss Quarters. Professor's Research and Iona are also really good staples. I personally prefer Iona over Research just because the hand I usually brick with has all the tools I need to set up later. Other pretty good rogue draw engine cards can include like Kofu, Lacey. I think my favorite out of them right now is Iris's Fighting Spirit. It's not as committal as Professor's Research, and you draw till 6, and so if you're able to burn at least a good portion of the cards in your hand, you can make use out of Iris more than you can with Research. Moving on to possible ace picks, there was a ton that can actually help Luxray quite a bit. The biggest one being Unfair Strength for more draw support. Drawback is that one of your Pokemon has to be knocked out at the end of your opponent's turn. Both players shuffle their hands to the deck, and your opponent draws 2 cards and you usually draw 5. Typically don't rely on being behind, it's light on includes Residivity and teams aside from there also being boss order fodder. But if you're running a stage 2, something will get knocked out before you can set up, so you may as well get a bonus runner. Another one that is always recommended for stage 2 Pokemon to play is the Grand Tree. Current Tree allows you to pretty much fully evolve into a stage 2 Pokemon turn after the Pokemon is put into play. Sort of like how cats mature at a very young age and really want the world to know about it. Another Prime A-Spec is Prime Catcher, but everyone uses that one. Basically, boss's orders and an escape Pokemon one, and allows you to pull one of its Pokemon and swap them to be active, or it's good for your Pokemon as well. It's good to play when you're trying to squeeze out that last bit of damage into an already wounded Pokemon. These are amazing A-Specs to use and utilize, and these are arguably the best in slot, but the one I use is the Miracle Headset. Now hear me out. I'm always one for using what you want regardless if it's meta or not. I typically try to avoid meta aside from the deck staples listed above, and because of that I try to avoid them if necessary. It gives the decks I build some level of variety and personalization. But enough yapping. The reason I use Miracle Headset is because I can pull 2 supporters from my discard into my hand, which means I can fish out a Zerostix I've already used, or an Arven, or whatever last ditch thing I may need. The second support gets Iono, you'll likely run multiple copies of it, meaning it will be easier to just run into a copy of it when drawing or shuffling. Also, the Miracle Headset looks cool. Blue and green is a wonderful color combination. Now that we're pawed and ready with the best gear plausible, let's key out there and show them what you're made of. We'll claw our way to the top of the cat tower and make a perfect... Can you please stop with the incessant cat puns? It's bad enough I'm here with the blue nuisance. Your yellow attire reminds me of his stupid friend. No please, his shirt's not that bad. His shorts, however. Hey, this is perfectly normal and reasonable attire. Reasonable for whoever dresses up their favorite cat person in the morning. Now, unless you have something else to add, please skip to the introductions. Oh, come on, Shadow. Let the guy live a little. Poor guy probably spent all night on these. 12 hours too many for what the results were. Fine, I'll go ahead and... Well, you guys don't really need introductions, but here goes. The individual that will be manning the demonstration will be none other than the dark-clad hero, Fogged in Mystery, Shadow the Hedgehog. With how often my backstory is presented, I hardly think there's anything mysterious. Introduce me next! Alright. Don't just let him skip over me. You're the host after all. Show some control. Some chaos control. Right, okay. On one side of the arena, we have the dark-clad hero removed from his past, and ye who embraces the future, Shadow the Hedgehog. Now that's more like it. Short, sweet, and to the point. And his opponent will be none other than the Knight of the Wind and the Denier of Destiny, Sonic the Hedgehog. Knight of the Wind. Now that's how you introduce a character. It's not the worst title I've ever heard. You're just mad your knighthood's linked to a table. Would you even... I'm not entertaining this. You're right, what you should be entertaining is this butt kicking you're about to get. As if. Not only will you be blue, but it'll be a blur with how quickly I'm off the floor with you. I'm already blue, but you'll be... well, I can't finish that joke. Just know that you're going to lose. With all due respect, this could go on for quite some time, so if you don't mind, we got a lot of decks to run today. Yes, let's get the show on the road then, shall we? Let's duel! Alright, Shadow, heads or tails? Heads. Everyone picks heads, so the likelihood of landing on tails is higher. Sorry, what was that? I said the likelihood would increase, not that it would be a guarantee. Well, now that I'm going first, my victory is all but guaranteed. We'll see about the likelihood of that. Basic set. Prize cards established. Reveal. Verdier. Groom. Duel. Now go ahead and kick things off. Draw. First, I'll use the bug catching set. This will let me look at the top 5 cards and grab 2 grass-type energy and Pokemon I find. Then, I'll use an Ultra Ball to search for 2 Mass Pokeball EX. I'll use 2 Dance. I get a type of energy from my hand to Ogerpon and draw a card. Next, I'll attach an energy to Verdier and use an Earthen Vessel to search for 2 more energies. And then my turn. Keep that start, Shadow. I'll show you just what Luxray can be capable of. Draw. First, I'll recruit Arven, so I can search for a Buddy Buddy Poffin and a Technical Machine Evolution. Then, I'll use Buddy Buddy Poffin to search for 2 Shinx. Then, I'll use the Electric Generator to search for any 2 electric energies from the top 5 cards in my deck. Sounds like we got a copycat amongst us. Not everyone can have a good bench from the get-go. Starting turns tend to be similar to one another. It's what we do afterward that makes the difference. I agree. What I'm about to do after is win this thing. Damn, you're not right. The agent got nothing. Alright. I'll attach Evolution onto the room, and use the newfound ability to evolve my 2 Shinx. I end my turn. Not the fastest start, but I'll take any gain I can get. Draw. Now I'm going to use 2 again to draw again. Next I'll call my friend Professor O for research. I discard my hand and draw 7 additional cards. Seems like your hand was just as bad as mine. Such is the way of TCG RNG. Wait a second. Is that Sinistcha? What are you planning, you nuisance? No, Shadow. Good things come to those who wait. And by that, I mean for me. You might not like it too much. Speaking of tea, I'll go ahead and add Pokédex to the bench. Then I'll put Pheasant Dippity onto the bench, attach an energy to Verdier, and end my turn. Surprisingly slow coming from you. It's all about the process. You could say I'm brewing something. Ugh, the nanosecond that teapot comes out, I'm blowing it up. We'll see who blows up first. We'll see indeed, Sonic. First, I'll double evolve my 2 Luxrays into Luxrays. Then, I'll attach an energy on around my Luxrays. Next, I'll bring that Luxray to the active. After that, I'll once again go through R-Ring to search for a Power Glass and a Buddy Buddy, to search for my other Shinx in the other room. Then, I'll attach my Power Glass onto Luxray and end my turn. And with that, Power Glass attaches an energy from my discard onto my active Luxray. Now look at you all beefed up and ready to attack. Too bad it's not surviving long enough to use it. The confidence is annoying because half the time you're just bluffing with a smirk. Oh, you don't believe me? We'll see about that. First, I put a Teal-Mask Pokemon onto the bench. Then I'll phone my friend Diona to refresh both our hands. This Rosy Vision can need that moment anyways. Think I can work with this. You need all the help you can get. You can thank me later. Anyways, I'll activate Teal Dance so I can shake you to draw a card. Nice! I'll use the nest ball I just found to search for a Radiant Greninja. And I'll use another Teal Dance, followed by Greninja's Concealed Cards ability. This lets me discard 1 energy and draw 2 cards. Next, I'll use this Ultra Ball I found. You have got to be kidding me. But I tell ya, tell Luxray to count his days. I used the Ultra Ball to search for Sinistcha EX. And guess who's finally coming out to play? So, this strategy finally decides to show itself. I attention energy on the Sinistcha, retrieve Weirdeer, and bring him up. Now, Sinistcha, use the weed discarded by all, and create a flavor unlike any other. Rebrew! Wait, what? That barely touched Luxray. Yeah, but I definitely gave you a scare. You had a neck and strangled you. You were worried. Don't be absurd. Why would I be concerned over such a cumbersome gimmick? That energy doesn't even stay in your discard. That energy will come in handy. You can count on that. So that miserable teapot won't be a part of it, because it won't be there for very long. Draw! First, I'll use a red candy to speed evolve my Shinx into Luxray. Then I'll use Buddy Buddy to find my final Shinx. Then I'll recruit my own Iono. Returning the favor? You shouldn't have. You're right. What I should be doing is attaching a newly found Power Glass into my Luxray. Now Luxray, focus your energy and launch a devastating blow. Volt Strike! Oh no, my elite strategy! Prize cards obtained. I had my turn, and Power Glass recuperates another energy. You weren't playing around. Fortunately, neither am I. Draw! First, I'll put a Poltergeist into the bench. Then I'll use a bug catching set. And look here, 2 energy, wherever those came from. Probably from your desperation to make Sinistcha work. Oh, is that what you see? Then keep on gazing. What? First, I'll double Teal Dance and conceal cards. Then I'll use a Super Rod to pull 3 Pokemon from my discard into my deck. So I'll phone my friend Professor Oak for research. Then I'll use Fez's Flip the Script ability. Then I'll attach an energy to Ogerpon. Alright, Ogie, take your ear and give him an unforgettable show. Myriad Leaf Shower. Prize cards obtained, and my turn. Looks like there's more to your deck than just Malevolent Brews. This deck is full of surprises, and it's not even the best part. So, we'll see just what else you have in store, or if you'll even be allowed to use it. Luxray, stand by for battle. Draw. First, I'll use a rare candy to speed evolve my final Luxray. Then I'll attach a lightning energy on the active Luxray. Let's see if you do have any more surprises in that deck of yours. Volt Strike! Whoa! Wasn't expecting back-to-back Volt Strike. That Power Glass is no joke. It's amazing how such a simple item can turn Luxray into the ultimate creature. I end my turn. Do your thing, Ogerpon! Accomplish your task, Power Glass. Draw! Sinistcha, it's time to shine! Can't be serious. Trust me, this won't be like last time. I'm going to show you the real superpower of late game. Next, I'll Teal Dance, then play Poltergeist onto the bench. Next, I'll use Concealed Cards. Does he seriously intend to attack Luxray again? Flip the Script! I'll go ahead and attach an energy to Sinistcha, then phone my friend Iono. Not helpful this time? You hate to see it. Anyways, I'm going to use the Earthen Vessel to search for more energy. The deck is practically in your discard. How much more energy could you possibly have? Just enough to run circles around you. Next, I'm gonna activate the Super Rod and pull 3 Pokemon from my discard into my deck. Next, I'm gonna retreat Ogerpon into the main man, Sinistcha. Now, Sinistcha, let's prove something fierce. I hate to break it to you, but once again, you failed to defeat Luxray. That may be true, but if I were to take a guess, I bet 2 chili dogs that I own the way the energy you had in your hand, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. Good luck, because now I don't need nearly as much energy to take you down. See about that. Draw! First, I'll attach Power Blast on the Luxray. Then, at the risk of poking you, I'll recruit Iona. Damn it! This is the worst possible time to see this disc. I can't even equip it because of Power Glass. It can't be helped. I am my turn. Hey look, Power Glass. I despise you. Despise this L. Draw. Look, catcher set. Do your thing. Oh look, 2 energy. What are the odds? Ogerpon, Greninja, you are the vibes. I'll attach the energy I have left over to Sinistcha. Then I'll evolve my other Pochi guy. Then phone this in Professor Oak. Now Sinistcha, you Luxray like your T-Pad. Matcha Splash! This is bad. I'm too sure to evolve Luxray, but I can't find the energy to save my life. There's one thing I can do though. Luxray, go! Draw! First, I'll recruit Iona. Yikes, that actually hurts this time. In energy. I'll attach the Luxray on the bench, and I end my turn. Yikes, brother, how the mighty have fallen. I'm merely formulating my next attack strategy. Well, you better think fast. In the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and attach an energy on the Ogerpon. Oh, and check this out. I'm gonna phone the friend Getsus for the boss's orders. Go ahead and break out that big, strong Luxray for me. What? Sinistcha? Take a backseat real quick. Then you, Weirdeer, come on up and activate your ability to Frontier Road. This lets Weirdeer supercharge himself by using all the energy attached to my bench Pokemon. Stand with your friends and use that power to blaze the way forward. So this is your next big surprise. In the flesh. And this one will really have you quaking in your boots. Weirdeer, channel the forces of nature that surround you and curate the offensive defense. Psyshield Bash! You really are the CEO of disappointment, huh? Not as disappointing as I hand of yours. I end my turn. Draw. I evolve Room into Rubber Room. Retrieve my Luxray and end my turn. Turn's looking a tad bit quick there, buddy. Yeah, well, I'll try to match your energy, but actually do something. I'll attach the Sinistcha and use Psyshield Bash. Yeah. Luxray, take the stage. Draw. Perfect. Maybe he's the key. First, I'll recruit Arbor and search for an electric generator in my TM evolution. You, Gen. I need you now more than ever. Go! Electric generator! Ha! I'll attach the 2 energy I found under my Luxray EX. Then I'll attach evolution onto my Luxray and end my turn. Oh, look at you finally putting up a fight. Draw! Draw 3 more times. Must be nice having a draw engine. Like you wouldn't believe, I'll use this energy I found and attach it to Weirdeer. Once again, use Psyshield Bash. No matter what, you got about 1 more of those before it's game over. Do you ever shut up? Ugh, stupid question. This is it. Draw! Perfect! Huh? You want a quick turn? I'll give it to you. First, I'll equip Zerosic for his machinations. This forces you to discard your hand until you have 3 cards left. Then I'll activate Switch to swap my Luxray with the powered up one from my bench. Yay, whoa, whoa, whoa! Now Luxray, put an end to this charade of a festival. Volt Strike! Whoa! Prize card obtained. Game, set, and match. Woo! What a comeback! All it took was a Destiny draw. I'm already fired up for round 2. How many more of these must I endure? Hector, is that your stomach growling? No. What the heck? Get down! Hello, hedgehogs. I couldn't help but notice you 2 were having fun. Eggman! Fun is subjective. Regardless, I see no better time to launch my attack while you 2 are at your leisure. Oh, this ought to be good. What's your big bad plan this time? Doesn't matter what it is. Anything it throws at me, I can overcome without even lifting a finger. Maybe in a one-on-one, sure. But how about an endless onslaught? Dual bots, attack! That's cool. Duel. Great, more annoying noise, but at least the way to keep it clear. A duel frenzy. Sounds like a great time. In fact, Hector, you got a copy of that deck? Huh? You mean Shadow's Luxray? Yeah, sure. Sweet. Time to check out some duel bots.
While you toil away at that, I'll take my leave. Ta-ta!